And can we have a roll call?
Brown,
Here.
Jur,
Yes.
Golston, Palapa,
Here.
Hanson,
Here.
Jarzakowski,
Here.
Neal,
Present.
Sparks.
Did everyone get a chance to look at the minutes?
Yes.
Were there any corrections that people wanted made? Or changes or anything? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes? Jim moves.
Yep.
And a second. Ava seconds. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Unanimous approval. Public comments not related to the agenda. I don't see any public to comment. Communications, we have none. General business.
Alright, I'm gonna start actually with something that's not on the agenda because we got the check after we had already sent this out. We're sending you another update. The $20,000 for the Daniels Family Playground has been achieved and turned into the city. So at this point, looking back at our minutes from that meeting, which was January of 25, we just need a recommendation from the Park and Rec Board for the commission to approve the naming of the Daniels Family Playground, and that this $20,000 go towards a small plaque to say that, and then into a maintenance fund. You guys approved this generally a while ago.
Okay, so
We didn't actually send it to the commission because we didn't have the funds. It was a pending, they get it actually raised. Now that's officially done, need to send off the recommendation to the commission to do it.
Can you just refresh my memory? Was this
Sure.
a request?
I will just read it to you. It'll be easier. So John Coles joined the meeting and requested that the board approve the naming rights of the new playground to be given to his committee and be named the Daniels Family Playground. Along with the rights, John noted the committee is working on raising another $20,000 to keep in a fund for a small plaque and continued maintenance. From there, he just went into why.
Yeah. This was like the very end of the Hemlock
Correct.
part, and it was like his last request.
Correct.
I'm just making sure that I'm remembering correctly. Thank you. Is there any discussion about this? Do we have a motion?
I'll motion that we recommend to the commission the naming of the park after Laura Daniels for the $20,000.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous.
All right,
Okay.
give it over to Megan.
Well, I was just thinking, I feel like I was at that meeting. It's been a minute since I was here, but I feel like I was at that meeting. But I don't know, it sounds familiar. We've had this discussion a little bit before, talking about having some standardized language as far as fundraising and naming policies and donation receipt policies. So I think I put together a draft of this, of what one would look like for us. You should have that in your packet. It's probably similar to something you may have already received too. But I think we're just at a point now where we're going to probably move forward with formalizing it a little bit more. I know it was just, it's kind of been on the back burner a little bit, but, so I took a lot of language and, not language necessarily, but I did follow some standards set by other communities. I looked at some samples that the Michigan Municipal League had as far as charitable giving. And so I used a lot of those things in here. All of this language is just a draft that I thought made sense. It's not approved by anybody. This is just my thoughts. So, I mean, it can be changed. There's some highlighted areas where, I mean, we need to like, nail down some exact numbers or percentages or things like that. But, I mean, regarding the naming policy, I think the idea is, I mean, maybe that was one of the last times that came up was a naming policy, but it was having something standardized, so like if some, community-driven fundraising initiative comes up again, we know that we're adhering to
So
all.
the naming thing, actually, prior to John Cole's coming before this board requesting that, Heather had asked us as a board to review the naming policy, which was already in place, but was very, let's call it thin. She sent, via email to all the board members, examples of other naming policies from Grand Rapids, Elk Rapids, maybe Cadillac. It was like 3 or 4 other cities, some smaller, some larger, and had us, we were supposed to review them, but I was the only one that reviewed them. And I responded to her with my thoughts on that, and then, because no one had reviewed it, it was tabled, and then the naming policy thing was tabled, and tabled, and tabled, and now we're finally back to it.
Sure.
Just to give the.
Yeah, I don't know that I knew that we had any existing
There
policies.
is, it's very thin.
Very
It's
thin.
like 10 sentences.
That's fine,
It doesn't cover and really call them, but
sure.
Yeah.
Well, and then at the beginning of the information I sent you, there's a community fundraising agreement. Just, like I said, if there is another initiative, I mean, that happens from time to time. I mean, that's what the original Playscape was. It was a community, driven fundraising agreement, but I think having, more, documentation of what the expectations of both parties are ahead of time is good for the city, it's good for the community partners, because we definitely appreciate it. We don't wanna seem like we don't appreciate people, that we're trying to like stifle philanthropy or anything, but it's just so we understand what's expected of us and what we can expect of them. So that's what that fundraising agreement is, and I have, personally have a background in fundraising. I've done that for Fairfield State University and for Davenport University, so that kind of is where my mind goes. And so I think in the charitable fundraising policy, I mentioned something about like having initial meetings with like me. It doesn't have to be me, but I just put myself there. I mean, I guess grants and fundraising are all kind of, similar things. But just to discuss, well, what are we fundraising for? When are you stopping? When are you starting? When are you stopping? What's the goal? How are you going to recognize donors? Because if people are fundraising on our behalf, I don't know that donors are gonna separate that. They're not gonna say, oh, well, the city didn't do this. It's, they aren't gonna say, well, this group didn't do this. They're gonna say, the city didn't do this for me. So, people are representing us. We wanna make sure that we have a good idea of things that are going on. And not that it wasn't like spurred by, a bad instance or anything in mind. It just is, it seems like moving forward, if we have other initiatives, it'd be good to have these things in place. Only thing I guess I would go with that is like, here's a draft. You're welcome to look over it beyond now. It's just something we're working on. I don't know if we wanna do like a committee or if you just wanna send me notes on it. Ultimately, we'll take it to city leadership and give them a draft of it too, but I don't really have a timetable on this, and start the conversation again. Can I answer any questions? Does that seem about where we're at? Okay.
So what you want us to read this and let us know what we think you need to do?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you can take a look at it, see if there's anything that doesn't make sense, see if there's anything that you think it's missing or overstates, or, I guess when I look at policies, I always think like more language is sometimes better than less, because you want to make sure you're clear. So maybe it's overkill, but at the same time, you'd rather have things pretty plainly stated, I suppose. So I think it's mostly, I'm just here to let you know this is kind of what we're going, so, or where we're going, so.
I read through it already. Did other members read through it?
There's some of it.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts that you want to share right now, or you want to wait?
I want to read through it again.
Yeah.
I kind of understand it better.
Well, and
And understand that the highlights, the highlight points are the ones that we really probably do need to address maybe what that should look like, so focus on those for sure, but
Yeah.
then definitely read through it, and if there's anything else that pops out at you, like, what about this, should we be doing this, or whatever, definitely send them our way, send them Megan's way, and we'll work through that, and, I mean, if we get to a point where we're comfortable by February, March, and we wanna look at it again and say, hey, everything's in here that we've talked about, and we're happy with it, we can talk about signing off on it, at least on our end, it doesn't finalize it, cause it'll all still ultimately go through the commission, but-
right. And I think that's some of the points, like within the plan is that, as far as naming's concerned, I think it does say anything, it's ultimately has to be approved. It's, based on, a percentage of, gift to the project or, whatever we decide. And there also can, and I think ultimately we'd have probably Brad, our legal counsel, look at it to make sure it, jives with all that, but, things would just have to be approved by the city commission before we, okay somebody to change the name of something.
On page 2, section F, it says that donations can be sent to the following funds managed by the Fremont Area Community Foundation.
Yes.
What's the Fremont Area Community Foundation?
It's a philanthropic foundation. We just have I guess they're probably endowments that we have with them.
Okay.
So, those are specific areas that if people wanted to donate specifically to Sweet Hill or to Riverwalk Maintenance, they can donate to that if they wanna designate a gift. And they're just, they just manage, several different scholarships and grants and funds and do philanthropic work they manage the Acosta County, Osceola, Lake County,
Okay,
maybe another one too, Newaygo County, but yeah, they do a lot of the philanthropic management in the area.
How do you access them? Is there a website for them? Right on the-
How do we as the city?
Yeah, well, I mean, even if you wanted to make a donation, cause look, I walk the Riverwalk most days.
Mhm.
How do you access?
Like, how could you make a gift
Yeah.
just on your own? I mean, you'd probably just have to call them to make a gift. I mean, we don't get a lot of people that just are making gifts, so we don't have a really robust giving program to accept donations. But yeah, you would probably either talk to the treasurer's office or talk to the Fremont Foundation, and we would coordinate a way. Or you would just send a check to the city and, designate it to this fund, and then it would be put into that endowment.
And they do have a website.
Okay, that's what I was, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fremont area, or Fremont Foundation, is it?
Yep, you just look up Fremont Foundation, it'll pop right up.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's questions you have throughout this, I'm always available to talk about it and discuss it, so you can email me, call me, or whatever.
I'm gonna try to remember to forward you my comments that I sent to Heather
Oh, we
the
can,
last time.
yeah, we can do that,
Okay,
cause I think you CC'd me on that.
I looked back, cause I was like, I have to review what I sent because it was so long ago.
was it on basically the same document, or the
It was
initial?
on naming specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that what I remember, and my memory is not fantastic, but from reviewing the naming policies from the other areas near here, was that almost all of them were at least as long as this policy. And I really thought that different cities did different things better than others.
Mhm.
And I think that, to my memory, because I reviewed what I sent earlier, but like I said, my memory's not great. My thoughts were that any name changes should be submitted as a form and be submitted to the Parks Board, which we would then recommend to the commission.
Mhm.
And
And
that's the way
agree.
I think that name changes should go, and that we should avoid them, which I saw you said in here, but like, that
Yeah.
specifically, I think that there should be a form that somebody fills out. I think this park should be named, or we should change the name of this facility to,
Right,
for these reasons.
so there's some record
Come
of
to
it.
us, present
Absolutely.
that, and then we decide as a board whether or not to approve it or not. So long as it adheres to predetermined prerequisites, like.
I think that's exactly right. And I think, I don't know, sometimes there's just not, I don't know, necessarily a paper trail of those kind of conversations, so I think that's a good idea, is to have that.
It also gives the public a means of, like, this is how you do it, and if you want to, if you're like, hey, it turns out this park was named after a known racist or something.
Right.
Like, I wanna change this name, well, here's how you do it. And not like, well, I don't know, you could talk to so-and-so. Like, well, there's just a form, just fill it out,
Right.
right?
Well, and there's language in here too about, like, if some, I don't remember exactly what it says, but something to the effect of, if we find out, this can be terminated at any reason, I mean, stuff happens, you find out new information,
This
but,
affords us those protections that we right now don't necessarily have. So.
It's just generally, I think, the naming policy was a big part of it. I think a donation policy is good because we wanna make sure that, one of the points in here, donations are not adding to the workload of city staff unless, it's a benefit to the city. Is the donation something that requires a lot of maintenance that's gonna ultimately, just everything to make sure we're adhering to all these things, making sure we're giving proper, like tax receipts for things that people are donating. We wanna make sure that they're recognized properly and they're being stewarded as donors, and don't think, well, why didn't the city ever put that bench up? I gave them a bunch of money, that didn't happen, I'm just, for example. So we just wanna make sure everybody's covered, and I don't know, I'm like, not a worrying person, but I always think like, oh, but it's been fine, but what if? So
I do feel like, to me, it read a little bit like a barrier.
Yeah.
Like, this is a lot, and I mean, my work with like the disc golf course, I'm like, we probably would not have gone through that many hoops. Like, we're fundraising with various different volunteers for over a year, doing not a ton of different stuff, but it would be like, man, this would have been a lot more work just to get through the hoops that the city would be putting in front of us. Just as,
I guess I'm not sure what kind of, I don't know, we can always talk about it
Yeah.
later too, but, I think
I think that
it's
like,
not meant to be a barrier.
for larger like organizations that are raising a lot of money, it makes a lot of sense. For smaller, like local, a couple of people that want to volunteer and do things, and like, oh no, we have to fill out this paperwork and answer when are we going to start and when are we going to stop and what are we going to give, and like, well, what if we want to have like 4 different campaigns and we change our mind halfway through, but now we filled out this paperwork and then we've got to do all this advanced planning, and it's like, there are a lot of people that I think don't have that level of experience fundraising and organizing, but that could still
Fundraise money.
contribute valuable efforts, but this might prevent them from doing it.
But then also, I mean, for this specific example, like you have ongoing fundraising. It's, you're fundraising, so maybe like a form would be filled out that said, that discusses that. I think it's just making sure that like the city is aware of like fundraising efforts, because again, like you guys are fundraising and most people are gonna know that it's you fundraising, but then ultimately if things are not, if they're giving money to the city, like it's reflective of the city.
No,
Right.
I get it from both. I get both sides. I'm just
So there's
thinking
a-
about it at the lowest level, because so much of what happens in the city just to me seems like it depends on people volunteering and stepping up.
Absolutely.
And like, the easier it is for people to do that, the more they're likely to succeed, and the harder it is, the more likely they are to be like, look at it and be like, well, this looks like more work than I wanted to do, which it always ends up being more work than you wanted to do, but when you don't see it, like,
And sometimes
right
there's a
up front,
reason for that, right?
you
Like,
just creep into it instead of like, oh, it hits you like a ton of bricks, and it's like, oh, maybe I don't want to commit the next 3 years of my life to something, even though you might end up
I
doing
think
it
the
that way
biggest thing
anyway.
that this does is allows us to keep track, and so
Yeah.
if someone, looking at it at first, it looks daunting.
Yeah.
Every time I run a special event form, even though everything I do is annual and everything is pretty
Yeah.
much the same, we have a 6-page packet that I have to fill out to do a special event.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but the biggest thing it does is allows for clear communication for anybody who's involved. And if it needs to be updated at any time, so if a committee is doing fundraising at any time, hey, I'm dipping out, this person's taking over. Cool,
Yeah.
we'll just update the form.
Yeah,
Hey, we're still
exactly.
gonna be campaigning, we're taking longer than we planned on, the end date's ongoing. Cool, we'll update the form.
But then, yeah, it also
That's
lets
what it allows
us
for us
know.
to do, is to keep track of that instead of word of mouth, oh yeah, I'll try and remember that you told me that or
Yeah.
whatever, so.
And then, yeah, so if there are smaller groups doing fundraising, you know, it's definitely not meant to stifle that at all, and we love volunteers and people helping with things, but then we know that it's happening too, so I know,
Yeah.
like, if the mayor's like, I heard we're fundraising about this thing, it's the first I've heard of it, and, you know, we wanna make sure that on our end, or the city's end, that we know everything that's happening and can,
Yeah, and like
inform
most
people
anything
about it.
else, we'll walk them through it the whole way.
yeah. And there, I mean, it's a big list, but mostly it's a form. And I mean, it's, there can be language in it, and I don't know if I put it in there, but some things that, ultimately say like, all of this is this way, but it's also at the discretion of like
Yeah.
city leadership. So if there is a small campaign, you know, we can always make exceptions for certain scenarios, but this is a starting point.
Is there other discussion?
I just need to read this because,
There's a lot.
yeah, especially when you're saying that, I'm going, wait a minute, that's really stuff here.
There's a
Yeah,
lot.
I need to, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I agree with, you said you have a 6-page thing. Back when I was doing a lot of safety things, there was forms that had to be filled out, procedure that had to be filled out. Same thing like you're talking about. And having something like this is a guideline that you can always look back, because no matter how many times I did shutdowns, I could still forget something. So having something that I always have like a guideline to go back to was always something that was quite helpful in that endeavor. And to me, a lot of this is, helpful, just so you know.
I think the idea is to make sure that the relationship between the city and its volunteers and supporters, you know, what is it? Good fences make good neighbors, or just so like if things are clearly defined, there won't be any issues there, and it's not, like I said, meant to, you know, stifle any giving or fundraising, but also like we wanna know who's doing it, and even if there's like a well-intentioned group that's like, I'm raising money for the city, but they're not really like stewarding the people or treating people the proper way or making sure people are getting proper receipts, like that's not good. If people are still giving money to the city, it's ultimately, I think, on the city to be responsible for that, so.
Along that lines, if a group is saying they're raising money for the city for a project, and the city doesn't know that they're raising a project, but somebody comes to you and says, well, I had this group come knocking on my door saying they're raising money for this project for the city, and the city doesn't know. So how do you know if they're just, pocketing the money for themselves? But if the city knows that there's a group out there that's doing something, for
And-
something in the
and
community.
I get all that,
Yeah.
but Megan also said that nothing has happened to spur this.
I'm just going by the times we're living in right now.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get all that. I'm just trying to like look at it from all perspectives. From the perspective of the city, I totally understand.
It's kind of like a best practice
From my
situation,
perspective
right?
as a citizen, I definitely see it not as the city wanting to just document things, but I see it as the city wanting to cover their butt, which makes sense, but doesn't make me feel like the city values the volunteers, right?
It actually covers their bums too.
I mean,
It does, because
I get that.
the number
I'm
of
just,
things that, like, we're asking here, it's keeping solid record of what the expectations are also of that committee. So if the committee starts to stray, because you've got new committee members or
Yeah.
whatever it may be, and they come up with new ideas, and we should be doing this, and always point back to, this was the plan, these are the parameters, this is what you need to do. If you stray from this, you could end up getting yourself in trouble. So it helps to keep people on track as well, so it covers them.
Right. And like I said, it's honestly you know, I'm been here like a year and a half or whatever, so, you know, coming from where I was surprised that we didn't have
Yeah.
something like this in place. And then, you know, it just maybe has not been in the front of anybody's mind, but I think that I think it's an important piece. And like you saw several other communities that have it is kind of a best practice to implement.
Mostly what I
in-
saw was I didn't see a fundraising, I saw naming policies. The
No,
naming policies, like Grand Rapids naming policy was really long, I think.
No, that there's
Hard to
a,
remember. I mean, they're a huge
have a lot
city,
of
they have a
them,
lot
yeah.
going on, right?
I looked at things from a lot in Michigan, and they were specifically it wasn't just naming, it was fundraising policies and,
I mean, what Heather sent me were just
yeah.
naming policies.
And
They
I
might have been
can-
part of bigger policies, but what I got was just on.
Just naming language.
naming. Yeah, which, I mean, there's a lot to unpack just right there.
Yep.
Yeah, so. Is there other discussion about this? So hopefully we can come back to this, people review the document and we'll talk about it more.
Yeah.
Alright,
a
obviously,
very
we
rough
have some
draft.
stuff, send it to us, but, like I say, we will plan to talk about it again in February, promise.
Thank you.
But we will plan to talk about it again in February, and the feedback we get between now and then could determine what that looks like. Alright?
Sounds good.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, not a problem.
Alright, most of the rest of this is updates and or follow-up from last meeting. Okay, so the pavilion, last meeting I told you guys that it was getting roofed and then windows, doors, siding, soffit was all gonna happen next year. It was just gonna get boarded up for the winter. Wrong. Everything is done except for the siding, which we're still working on getting taken care of, and then the interior and the electric. And they have done a CIP for parking 44. So it's much farther along than we planned on it being, and it's still in the works of getting a few of those things taken care of before we touch interior and electric in the spring. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, where was this pavilion?
Sorry, this is the North End Park Pavilion by the disc golf course.
Which I anticipate being wildly popular.
Right.
It's really probably the trail is gonna be, people are gonna be like, this must be for White Pine Trail. So we'll see how it goes, but I think people are gonna use it a lot.
Oh, I think so.
Like, and just for the record, I'm like, it's supposed to be a disc golf pavilion, and I see disc golf using it, but I mean, you know, if people are walking down the trail and they wanna stop and have a bite to eat or something, whatever at the pavilion, like, of course, it's, you know, the more use it gets, the better. I just don't wanna compete for the parking.
Oh, and that's fair.
But it's all good. It's very exciting.
The sculpture, this one is a decision. I brought this to you guys and you wanted to take a look at what was selected and make sure that you were okay with it. So you've got a full section in here, starting with where it says Bird John Warner.
I appreciate that, thank you. Did people review this in advance?
So you guys were good with this location. You were happy with the location in North End Park. It was a matter if you wanted to see what piece was selected to go there. And it is for Bird City because this is mostly known as a bird watching spot in North End Park, I believe.
There's a trail there.
There's a trail there, so it's kind of just going along with that.
I really want to base on that.
Why didn't they just pick a bird? Or, cause it's modeled after like several birds. Right?
So it's his,
I like it, I
Um,
like it, I'm just curious.
I believe that,
I couldn't tell you
I thought
exactly.
chickadee when I looked at it, but.
I think the request for proposals was pretty general as far as what they were asking for, so we weren't asking, sorry to jump in, I'm part of the Bird City meeting too. So I think it was pretty general and we were just waiting to see like what kind of things artists would propose. And so we didn't ask for a specific bird. This is just what he proposed, I believe.
Can you tell us how many applications there were?
I could not tell you that.
And I couldn't either, sorry.
There were 6.
There were
6, there we go, someone knows.
Yeah.
Thanks, Erin.
No, it's okay, I just had to email it.
So it's our responsibility to more or less just give our blessing to this. I don't know
Pretty
if
much.
people wanna have any discussion at all.
I think it's really beautiful. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I am,
You're
I'm
good.
so sorry, but what is this discussion, I mean, what are we,
Were you at the last meeting?
no, I'm not,
So
just say
a
I'm sorry.
quick recap. Josh asked us to approve a sculpture for a contest at a location at North End Park for that was
Right,
bird watching was the essential theme.
but, I'm sorry,
And the Parks Board thought that we should see the sculpture before we approve.
but I'm sorry, I don't see a cost this, the cost for
There's no
this.
cost.
Huh?
The Festival of the Arts.
Festival of the Arts,
not-
this
it's
is
not
their
coming out of the
project,
city
they were
budget.
just asking for our approval of where it goes, when it's done, and then we asked, we're okay with the location, but you can actually see what you end up selecting as well, make sure that we're okay with that too, there's no cost.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was just
Yeah.
trying to figure out the cost and there
You're
was
good.
nothing.
So, do we have a motion? Jim moves to approve
I'll
this
second it.
sculpture, and Alexa seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Unanimous.
Wheelchair swing. Wheelchair swing is a little bit of an ongoing conversation. Wheelchair swing that was in Hemlock Park, facing the river, was pulled out due to safety hazards. Then there was conversation of putting in a new one. And then the Frasers shared a particular style that they wanted to see. There was a lot of conversation about whether it was safe, something we could do, should do. And ultimately, it was left as, let's do what they're looking at in North End Park. And if we can do a second one still back in Hemlock that meets the playground safety standard, then we'll do that as well. So the North End Park one has been the primary project that I've been working with our engineers to get taken care of. And the location, as much as I wanted to take you guys out there, kind of got determined for us. Mostly by cost, because to run power, to have the camera that we've talked about wanting to have there to the other two locations would have driven the price of the project up to where it was not gonna be reasonable or feasible to do. So the location is by the retaining wall near the boat launch, kayak launch, whatever you wanna call that, where everybody puts their rafts in. Over there, we can actually install a camera, on the pavilion that should see it. And then it's also not far from the sidewalk, so we don't have to add a bunch of extra sidewalk, we just have to do the cement pad, the pour in place, get the company to come do the installation, and from there, if we need to add lighting or move a camera based on the hedges, if they're gonna create a visual problem for us, then we can easily do that and not incur that much more cost either. So, right now, that's where we're at, just building out what we need to do to finalize details and purchase all that good stuff, cause most of it has been deemed that we can actually probably do in-house without having to necessarily go out to bid.
Awesome.
Alright?
So last time we talked about it, there wasn't gonna be a pad, it was gonna be like a different, cause I had asked about the pad. You said that it might not have a pad, but now there will be a pad for the swing, so.
Right, cement pad with the pour and place base.
Okay.
Yep. That was Heather's big thing that she really wanted, is to have it. You have to have the cement pad to anchor it down, with
Yeah,
that style that
yeah.
they wanted, with the pour and play base for the safety, so.
The
Alright.
pour and play base that you're talking about is the like rubberized.
Right, like what we have down at the new
Just
playground down
clarifying.
there. Yep.
Perfect, thank you.
Mhm.
Committees, list, and assignments.
So, we've got 5 committees. We need 3 new members to the Policy Citizens Recognition Committee, as well as the Pool Committee. And then the rest, we need 2.
What is the Recreation Programming Committee?
So the Recreation Programming Committee is the committee that I would meet with when it comes to coming up with new ideas, if we feel we need to sit down and have a conversation about different programming that we should maybe try and offer through the Recreation Department.
Okay, gotcha. I'll join that one.
Okay?
Yeah, that's one I would probably join as well. If there, you said there are 2 spots there.
There we go.
And then the Planning Committee, there's 2 spots open as well?
Yep.
I will join that one as well.
I'll join that one as well.
So it looks like we need a lot of people on the pool committee, no? You can add me to the pool committee.
I'll be on that as well.
You can add me to any committee that you need an extra person. I'm already on 2 committees, so by joining the pool committee, I'll be on a 3rd committee.
There you go.
But if you need an extra person, it's fine. I mean, like we said, the committees like hardly ever meet, so I'm like, oh my gosh, I volunteered myself for 1 hour in the next 5 years. I think I can handle it. And if it turns out to be more than that, then, you know, I'll deal with it then. But
I think
Like
that,
the Geico commercial and call in a sub for.
yeah.
I think that the recreation thing, we got together 2 or 3 times when we were trying to figure out, some things about, I think we were just trying to figure out what we were gonna do with, not the pool, but in the recreation, trying to figure out where we could put the kids that were good at stuff. That were good at stuff, so.
Yeah, I remember meeting,
Yeah,
but it was like 4 years ago or
Yeah.
something. It was a long time ago.
It was.
And I couldn't tell you what we were actually discussing, so.
We need spots? Yeah.
We need 3 for Policy and Citizens Recognition Committee,
Okay,
2 for the budget,
sure.
and 1 for the pool.
Put me on the 3 that you need. Okay.
Does budget still need a,
Budget now needs 1.
I'd be interested in that one.
I think that Sandy and John said they wanted to be on all the committees.
Policy and Citizens Recognition, and then we're, except Sandy's already on there, so we still need 1 more.
Like I said, if I'm allowed to serve on more, you can put me on it. I'm happy to be on as many as possible.
I can do the citizen recognition. I didn't grow up around here and I don't know many people, but I could be on there anyway.
You know, I mean, part of it, I think, is just,
So that's me. I didn't
Yeah,
grow up here either, so.
I think a good chunk isn't necessarily knowing people, but like thinking about what would make someone worthy, right?
Or if you see or hear of some things that have been happening, or someone's involvement in things, then.
Yeah.
Hey, I understand this person's been really involved with making this happen, X, Y, Z, you know, they would be great to be recognized, whatever.
Okay, how are we looking? Are we
We're good. I mean, we only have the 1 spot left on the Policy Citizens Recognition, so.
Okay.
I mean, even if we don't have that finalized today, because we are missing a couple people, I mean, I feel like we're in a decent spot, unless somebody's really itching to get on there, so.
And I'm trying to think, so I think that, we're supposed to have 9 board members. Is that right? And we have 8. So there's a chance that we get an extra person and then we can force them onto a committee.
Hey, thanks for joining, you're also doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, everybody else is on all these committees, you need to serve on this one because, surprise.
I didn't know we left this such a heavy-handed, chairperson here. We're not like this in other, we got a laid back in others, I'm just saying from experience.
I'm good with leaving this literally one spot not taken, and we can address it again in the coming months to see, hey, are you interested in?
Yeah, well, Jim, mostly just to clarify, my thinking was simply that if I'm not supposed to serve on like all the committees, that the reason why a committee would be short was that we're a member short. Right?
Oh, I was talking about how you were gonna force the people on.
Yeah, I know, that's what I was kidding,
I know.
but like, I was saying that's why we're,
And I was kidding too.
okay, good.
Alright. Graffiti wall at the skate park. So, it was cut out of the project for costs, but they're open to figuring out ideas of things that we could do there. I mean, whether it was even thrown out that our guys could build a graffiti wall, and have it be a wood graffiti wall, or if we need to do something that is cement, we could figure that out as well, but we figured that it would be something that our guys could do in-house. But then the other reservation was, we wanna figure out what a policy for it would look like. You know, it's not like it's you're making a ton of rules for a graffiti wall. But there are the rules that you wanna make sure are out there that people are aware of, like, hey, EG here, you know, be courteous of other people's artwork, things like that. You wanna make sure you point those things out, but we wanna make sure we cover our bases with it as well. I don't feel like that's nearly the hang up, but it was crossing people's minds when I brought it to their attention as well, so. If it's something that you guys really want us to pursue doing, then I will absolutely take it back to them and say, hey, yes, they would like to see it, it was a part of the original project, they'd like to see us try and figure out how to make that happen.
So I did a little bit of research on this, I think it was last year. Do you remember, Megan?
Yeah, it was probably last year.
About a year ago, I can't remember exactly. I reached out, I like literally just looked for places that had graffiti walls and tried to find like smaller communities, because we're just not the same as like a Grand Rapids or a Chicago or something where like there's just so much more going on. I did manage to connect with at least one person who was like actively involved in a graffiti space in their community. And what they said, referring to the discussion of what are the rules, was that you can try to put a few basic rules up, but really it's gonna come down to typically a volunteer like themselves that like monitors the wall. They show up, somebody put boobs somewhere or wrote a curse word, and they're like, get out the primer and just prime over the bad stuff. It's like, it's gonna happen, and you just have to have somebody that's in charge of it more than, it's like you can put the rules up, but really somebody has to be
Still, you're gonna have to
present, yeah. Yep. But they also said it doesn't really happen that much. You know, it's like, oh man, this is really bad, I gotta cover it, it's rare. They said that graffiti artists prefer masonry, cinder block, concrete, that kind of surface. I definitely had the initial idea that it'd be really awesome if we had like chipboard or some other like semi-durable wood that could be removed. So if there was a really great piece that was put up, that the city could potentially auction that off, buy more wood, slide it back into place, right? And then that artwork isn't just destroyed. Because I mean, eventually everything on a graffiti wall will get painted back over, but I don't know.
I mean, it brought up a thought to me of like, how could we get like the kids and the community involved through school a little bit, or like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
No, I don't think so.
No, I have a little bit, so this was some time ago, and so not to say much about it, but so that we did partner with, I don't know, maybe you were probably not aware of this, but we partnered with Artworks and, the Ferris Fine Art Gallery and the Muskegon River Watershed Assembly to submit a grant to the National Endowment for the Arts. to build a graffiti wall and have like some programming, and there was a whole, program in place, or a program that we developed, a proposal for this. We submitted it to the NEA, now we haven't heard anything, I mean, they haven't awarded it, it's a federal grant. I'm not saying that we're likely to get, that is still kind of out there, we're still waiting. And I was writing notes to myself to say we should check the status of it, but a portion of it was like educational, engagement, engaging kids with, the idea of, like urban art, street art. But then also it's on the river, like are there some educational components involving, like the watershed and things like that, so.
And I don't know like the current programs that are going on at Artworks as far as like art classes, but
Yeah.
you know.
So, I mean, this is nothing that's actually happening. It's all like a grant proposal that we're kind of waiting to hear on, but I thought I'd throw that out there. So there's interest, so even if the grant proposal doesn't come through, there's still interest in doing those kind of things, so.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for artworks, for schools, and for just people in general to express themselves freely in a public arena.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very for it.
And like maybe it gets switched out every year, or I don't know, or it stays up forever.
Just like
or-
whitewash it.
Or
every
if,
day or
if
something.
we are contemplating using wood instead of like cinder blocks, maybe it could be like seasonal, like where it's brought out all summer and then we tuck it away or bring out new wood for the next season or something like that.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
it actually
that makes-
holds up too.
That makes sense to me. I mean, I know that paint and cold do not go hand in hand. Like, you can't paint when it's cold. So it's like, I can't imagine anybody out there with like a heater, like trying to paint in the winter.
Torch.
Yeah, got one of those propane jets, you know?
Concrete or cement, or what is it, concrete or cement? One of those, that's what
That's the preferred.
base
by
of it,
artists,
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, my initial idea was that it could actually be a sculpture itself, and that each panel of the sculpture, being wood, could be slid out or unscrewed, right? And then, so you would kind of have predetermined, like, here's a canvas, more or less. And the art classes that I took in college, one of the tips that really helped me was like, before you start drawing on a page, draw the frame of the picture so that you know the parameters of where the space that you're working in. And so if, like, you have all of these different panels of wood, you've kind of got that like predetermined canvas for people to work on, which, they might fill out the whole area or not, but like, again, like if a panel was really awesome and impressive, then it was like, well, maybe, that could get saved. But I also think, if a mason type surface is preferred, that's cool too. Like, graffiti's great.
Paint over it.
Yeah, I think that generally people will just paint over whenever, they want, and that's the risk you run of putting graffiti up. You can,
The nature of that kind of art.
yeah, you can spend
It's
100
not
hours
permanent.
on a mural, and somebody can come along the next day and be like, I'm gonna draw a smiley face.
Right. All right. Riverwalk repairs and repaving. There is a budget, and it was being looked at after I mentioned that to them after our last meeting.
Yeah,
And they've deemed that it needs to be redone, and they've done a CIP for it.
okay, thank you.
Portable toilets. Got what you wanted. They're out there.
Song.
Scores.
Is there a plaque that says the Scott Heron emergency
No.
memorial moment of Scott's emergency stop?
Right.
Yeah.
It's not adhering to our policy.
I need a plaque that says
Mark
Scott's
did make sure-
accident prevention.
Yeah.
Accident for that.
Mark did make sure to, put it in my ear though. Depot Park Porta John has been tipped twice. So, they're keeping.
Recent, like, since,
Can I go on
Jeez.
live
So-
or something and be like, this is why we can't.
I guess we can talk about this now. Do you,
They're not open.
you don't,
They didn't go for the full 4 season on them yet, so.
so, in years past, we've had a snow fence up along the industrial park.
Mhm.
And I saw that snowmobiles went all over the industrial park because the fence was not up.
There.
Yeah. And I wonder if there's any correlation between that and the Porta-John tipping. Just because I'm like, who's on the White Pine Trail right now?
A lot of people still.
It was Alexis.
The snowmobiles have been really bad on the disc golf course this year. I wish they were.
Really?
They all over. And it's like, the thing is, they drive fast. I don't think that they're like aware of other people around them. If I get why the disc golf course is an attractive place, because it is basically like a long track through the woods that's open, and so there's nothing preventing them from
Are there
driving.
signs up that say like no motorized vehicles or anything like that? And that,
I don't think
No.
I
so.
feel like there should be, right? It's only you.
or maybe like
Go
right
by
up the
foot through
pavilion,
there.
there could be a sign. The new
I'd
pavilion,
like there to be
pavilion that's
signs,
getting
and there's a
built.
few areas where I'd like to see the snow fence go up on the disc golf course, but like,
I would approve that.
I think that I'm not sure, I think the snowmobilers might have a right-of-way use of the power lines. I'm not a snowmobiler, I don't know what the rules are about it. I did look it up, and you don't have to pass a test to have a snowmobile and to drive it, you have to have a driver's license. But there's nothing in the driver's test to cover like, this is where you can drive a snowmobile and this is where you can't.
Right.
And so they just generally seem to go wherever the snowmobile can go. They're like, oh, if it's through somebody's yard, there's snow, I don't care, I'll go. And it's kind of like, if they were driving around like that at Hemlock Park, people would go crazy, right? And like, there's other trails at North End that like people cross-country ski or run in the summer. That like, I don't know whether they're driving down those as well, but I would be upset about that, because if you're on your cross-country skis and all of a sudden the snowmobiler comes around a corner doing like 70 miles an hour, like, that's I don't know, it's just rude.
Oh, I get it.
I just, I've never snowmobiled in a city. Like, I have always been up north, no
There's
one
snow on the
around,
track
so
right in
I'm
my
like,
yard.
it
Mostly in
doesn't
front yard, but they're
compute
there.
why
Yeah.
people are even, doing that, but I guess
They probably don't do it on like other golf courses, right? I mean, I would think.
It's just because it's on the White Pine Trail, and once one snowmobiler does it,
they see
follow
those
trends.
tracks.
people are like, oh, what's that? I'm gonna go find out, and
On
then
the trail, let's go check it out.
yep, and they go. So it's a never-ending issue. I'm really all for like mixed use of the disc golf course within like safety. Sometimes we'll see people on bikes, which I'm like, it's fine, just go the direction of the course. And we talked to a guy last year in the summer. He was like, well, I really like going the other way. And we're like, well, we really don't want to hit you with our frisbees. I almost knocked a lady off her bike.
Sorry.
But like, I don't want that. Like,
No.
like last year, they saw there was a foot trail. They decided to leave the White Pine Trail. The foot trail, it's from people going like leaving the course the wrong way. You can't stop it. And so she ended up popping out right in the middle of a fairway. I came this close to her head with a driver, which if you don't know, the drivers are like almost sharp on the edge. If it would have hit her, she would have gone down for sure. And I don't want that. I'd feel horrible.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. So anyway, if the snowmobilers could somehow be respectful of, like, the disc golf course, it would be one thing, but they're not, so. It was probably like 10 years ago, they hit, like, a bench that was, like, anchored in the ground, like, with 4x6s, like, 2 4x6s that were, like, 3 to 4 feet in the ground, and they hit it so hard that they uprooted the bench. And that bench never got replaced, basically. So, yeah.
It's because we can't have nice things.
Because it's snowmobilers.
A couple of CIPs have been put, so just really these again are just updates. Mitchell Creek stair update, there's really nothing new. They're still figuring out exactly what they're gonna do with that project. They know they need to and wanna do something, they're just trying to figure out the scope of what that's gonna look like. And then North End Playground, they're also still investigating, if there's really anything that needs to be fixed, replaced, or anything, cause it is 25 years old. But otherwise, again, at the very least, if there's really nothing and we don't deem that we need to do anything, pour in place is the very minimum probably gonna take place there. Alright? What do they got?
I don't think we have any staff reports. We haven't had any committee meetings. Unscheduled business?
Ooh, that's it.
Over there. Let's hear it.
I just heard of 2 businesses leaving downtown.
I heard of one, who's two?
Wait, who?
Just found out on Tuesday.
What did you?
And it's like there's Threads.
Yep.
Oh, they
And,
are?
well, Too Cheesy, that was
Oh,
a little
yes.
bit ago,
Yes.
so my bad, I don't know when exactly, but, I feel so inspired by all the stuff we're doing with the parks, you know, and I'm just like, what's happening with downtown?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the answer is, but it's just concerning to me a little bit, and why
It's
is
all
this
us.
happening? And,
Yeah.
you know, I think for the livelihood of Big Rapids, those things go in hand very much so. Downtown parks, you know, pulling people to the area, so I just wanted to voice that concern, and I don't know if anyone knows what's going on.
When you say leave, do you mean they went under or do you mean they moved?
Threads, I know he owns a location in Cadillac and he has much more success getting people into that location. From our conversations, just not enough people have been visiting the location here.
Yep.
He's super nice though, it's great business.
Yeah.
And Two Cheesy Guys, they were partners with Three Girls Bakery, correct? And
Same owner, yeah.
Yeah, same, yeah, and they kinda were doing the same thing, it seemed like at both locations, so.
A little bit, yeah. Three Girls went from just being a bakery and they started having the menu and everything like that and doing paninis and other things. And then Two Cheesy Guys came in and they had a very different idea going into the business. Because they planned on having a liquor license and they were gonna do wine and charcuterie boards and things like that. Well, they didn't get the liquor license, and so then they would try and do the charcuterie boards, which were going pretty well for lunches, but if that's all you're doing, you're gonna have a hard time. So they tried to expand their menu, they tried to bring back the old Peppers menu.
I loved it there.
But then it started almost kinda being very similar to what they were doing at Three Girls as well. So I think they were struggling to find success with 2 businesses that were getting a little too close to being the same, so.
I would make the comment that if you know anyone that wants to open retail businesses in downtown.
Oh my god,
That's really good
We
to
need
know.
retail, but I can also tell you
Shopping,
from the number of years now that I've been with the DBA, retail is the hardest in
Yeah.
our downtown.
I think you need
The
a lot
profit-
of it though, right?
The profit margins are
You
not
need a lot
very
of it. The
good.
big, well, you're right, your profit margins are,
you have
that's
to
part
buy a
of the
lot
struggle, and you
and
have to have a
sell
lot.
it.
And shopping retail is so different now than it was a
Yes.
number of years ago. People don't, and so that unless, like you're saying, there's a lot of it, a lot of options to go to, it's hard to get people to come down to do
Or-
shopping for that.
Or you have stuff that is in high demand, but
Sure.
hard to, that you can't get it anywhere else, right? Like you can't order it on the internet, you have to go into it, like, what is that? I
And
don't know.
trends flip so fast nowadays that.
In what Ada said, like, it made me think of why we go to Nuevo, because that town is geared towards the river. And it's got such an outdoor river vibe, and so that's why we like to go over there and shop at M37 and go to the brewery. I love going by Wisner's where they do all the tubing, and it's just that Rivertown vibe, which I don't know why we don't have that here, because we should.
We used to. The tubing place, yeah, right on the river next to Gypsy. It was very different then.
Like,
That was
I
very
love that location too. I mean, if I had all kinds of money, I've got all kinds of ideas.
And we
Right,
brought that up
yeah.
at the last meeting, actually, that the city was looking at that property at one point.
The one
Oh.
next to Gypsy.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
old tubing
Right.
livery.
Something that has bothered me forever, when you're on US 131 and you're driving north, pretty much every sign tells you how far away you are from Cadillac, and very few of them tell you how far you are away from Big Rapids. And I recently Googled why that is, and it's because Cadillac is considered a junction city
Yeah.
because there's multiple,
It's a hub.
there's 3 major roads that go through it,
Oh, yeah.
and Big Rapids only has 2. That said, Cadillac has basically the same population as Big Rapids, except Big Rapids has a state university that Cadillac does not have. So we actually are a larger community with, because of Ferris. And we have Ferris, which I think makes Big Rapids somewhat important. We're both county seats, but we're never gonna change the way that city or highway signs are designed, basically. But I do think that it drives a lot more people to Cadillac, even though the road signing has to do with junctions and not destinations. It does turn Cadillac into a destination
Yes.
and turns Big Rapids into a bypass, right? And so I think
Shopping's way better in Cadillac.
Yeah,
Because
how we better turn
people
us
are
into-
going there because
Yep.
they see this sign, keep going until you get to Cadillac, basically. And like, I really think that hurts places like our downtown because people aren't getting off the expressway here. And already people don't get off the expressway because the only,
If they do, it's to get gas or hit a pit stop real quick and then they carry
and
on.
all of our fast food is pretty much on State Street. And so it's like people get off at Cedar Springs because they know there are all these fast food joints right off the expressway. If you can't see or know that there's like 3 different fast food places right there, you're not gonna stop. So people might stop for gas, but that's about it. And I mean, part of that has to do with the way that 131, the highway is designed, right? I mean, when it was Northland Drive and that was the only option, that went right through the heart of Big Rapids, people were a lot more likely to stop.
That's why all those restaurants are there.
Right.
Because that used to be the
Because
main.
of that, yeah, and it's like, you start to see that shift of restaurants going out to the highway, but the 2 fast ones are Arby's and Culver's, and Culver's, I never go there because the line is always a million cars long, I'm like, no way.
It's probably because they don't know there's anything.
Because they don't know what, yeah, I know,
We could go to Schuberg's.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it would take the same amount of time and cost the same amount of money.
Right, and it's a
I
homemade
just
burger.
wanna see, like, I feel the potential here, and there is potential here, we have a river, there's scenery, I just wanna see it thrive, and
Well,
that's
Yeah.
So what did you,
We have a new person
what would you
that's-
suggest then?
more retail.
No,
like
no,
what
no,
you
no,
say.
I'm
How?
just talking about,
How do you get the retail?
Oh, well, I haven't lived here my whole life. I
No, I
come
understand,
from
I
a bigger city, so to me, it's just like, I don't understand like where all the money goes and
I think
whatnot.
certain, like, I know we always see the thing about like, why isn't there an Olive Garden here, or why isn't there a Target here? Well, they have like demographic groups they're looking for, right?
I'm
And
not talking
know
big
that. I know
box
what you mean.
stores even, like, the downtown should be thriving, there should be more restaurants downtown. There
I feel like the
should-
biggest thing.
Mhm.
We don't have,
You
it's so
know?
hard to have a restaurant that can make it. You just have to have so much venture capital up front, and you have to have a really great product. And it's just a tough gig for people to wanna do. But I mean, that's the number one thing, it's like, what restaurants do we have downtown?
And like it's.
Schuberg's, Blue Cow,
Vancouver.
like you count,
Shooters
And
have
it's,
food.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's nice that there's the downtown
yeah,
district, drinking district, like, that's cool, but,
It's also underutilized.
right, it's like, it needs.
What you run into is So we've lost retail because obviously people aren't going into the shops. We're not getting people downtown. When I talk to the businesses that are downtown, the people that they're seeing more and more are not from town. It's people that are out of town that they happen to drive in through town and, hey, I wanted to stop here and check this place out. Shopping local is not as much of a thing. Lots of people now, with their time, when they do that kind of stuff, that shopping or anything, it's on the weekend, and they're going somewhere. They tend to want to leave town on the way. I want to get away from home. I want to go do something, which takes them away from doing that stuff here in town. And unless there is an event going on in downtown, locals don't necessarily go downtown unless they're a regular somewhere. If they've got regular plans that take them downtown, they'll be there. But if it's not a special event that's going on, get a ton of locals that just go downtown for stuff.
That's why we need the things.
We
So that
but we
you
can't
don't
get the
wanna
things if the
leave on
people
the
don't go
weekends.
either.
It's a
You
catch-22.
wanna be here
I
on
really
the
think that
weekends,
it's the restaurants that really drives it more than anything. Like the tiny town that I went to college in, Yellow Springs, I mean, it was like everybody was downtown all the time. People would drive every day from an hour and a half away just to spend the afternoon there. But there's multiple coffee shops, there's multiple bars and restaurants, right? And then there's a handful of more expensive boutiques in between those places. But I mean, the village of Yellow Springs only has 3,000 people, but they've got
It's the social
they've
aspect
got
of it.
400 people downtown
Yeah.
sitting on benches every single day, you know? And so,
Lakeview is the same way where I grew up. It's fun downtown because
Yeah.
we have
It's
bars, they have little
happening.
cute little boutiques, they have a wine and cheese shop. And it's just where you go every weekend, and I never left town when I lived down there. I leave town all the time up here because our downtown isn't fun. I wish it was,
yeah.
cause I live 4 blocks from downtown. I'd love to just stay
Just
here
walk
and
down. Yeah, just walk
I would
down.
love it.
It's a hard thing. Like I said, it's
Yeah.
a catch-22. I will also say a really funny thing in Yellow Springs. There was a grocery store, but like there was no. They did a really fantastic job fighting a lot of big box chains. But the joke was that you couldn't buy a pair of socks in Yellow Springs, right? Like the basic essentials you had to leave town to buy. Well, at one point somebody opened a sock store, right? But all the socks were like $30 a pair.
They're probably.
And so it lasted like a year and it went under because people didn't want to buy expensive socks when they just need 6 pairs of basic socks. Which is, so it's like, even though the shop was like addressing this like perpetual joke, it didn't address it in a way that was helpful. And I feel like we get some of that in Big Rapids where it's like, oh, we don't have any shops. Oh, I'll open like a clothing boutique downtown. Well, that's great, but most people that buy clothes in Big Rapids are going to Walmart or Meijer because they can't afford expensive clothes. They just need some undershirts or a new pair of jeans, right? Or something basic. And we don't have those shops downtown. So when somebody opens an expensive boutique, it's great, we need that, but it's not gonna draw the citizens on a regular basis, right? Like, those shops are almost always doomed to fail.
I don't know. I think it needs to be a mixture of all those things.
It does, but I'm just saying,
you
like,
know?
I think that the restaurants are what draw people on a regular basis.
Restaurants next. So
And then when they see a boutique and they see a shirt or a coat or a pair of shoes or whatever, then they might be like, oh, I really want that, and then they'll go in there. But there has to be something on a regular basis that draws them there.
we
to make
really
those
need
purchases.
Cottage Inn to open.
Yes.
We need a
Theater.
theater
Yeah.
to open.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then from there, if we had 1 or 2 other activity-based businesses that were not extravagantly priced,
Yeah.
that's gonna draw people into downtown. You've got food, you've got activity, you've got things going on so that people will want to be downtown. And the theater in itself is gonna be one of those things that's going to do that. Otherwise, not everybody loves to shop, but if there's something else to do, I'll eat and I'll go do that.
I heard Quinn's was going to start having live music there too.
Yeah, so.
They have a new owner.
Love that.
Well, and it's been pressed on the DBA, which they're not an events committee, but, it's been one of those things where, is there something we can do in the evenings to try and get more activity going on in the social district? I spoke with Arlene and she said, I'm not doing the Thursday night concerts anymore, I just don't have the time to do it. So they're talking about possibly taking that out and adding, so we'd have concerts in the park on Wednesday, we'd have concerts in Pocket Park on Thursday evening, and then we'd have no more concerts on on Friday afternoon in Pocket Park as well. Plus, if we get the addition to the farmer's market, if that continues to grow on Saturdays, stuff for us to do on Saturdays.
Love that. There's something about live music, like, I love walking out of my business after work on Friday, and if I walk past there, I'm just like, live music, it just, instant joy. So I think the live music aspect is very powerful.
Anything to bring groups of people together and it's social, and then it's fun.
You know, one thing that really stood out in Yellow Springs was the number of public murals on walls. So it's like, I feel like Big Rapids has made strides in that direction in the last 10 years or so, but we could do a little better.
We have a lot of public art. I don't know if you're like.
We haven't done, when you say public art, I think you're referring to a lot of sculptural pieces, some of which are like,
art that's in the public.
Yeah.
That's what I refer to.
it's like the logging mural that's been downtown. It's like, I kind of like it, but I also think that it's a little bit uninspired. Like, it doesn't, stylistically, it's not unique to Big Rapids. It's like, it looks like something that's been printed, right? We have the mural that's in the alleyway over here that, I forget the artist that it's,
Cascardo?
Mhm.
The John Cascardo one, like back behind.
I like the JC
Yeah.
Penney one.
JC Penney one is
I
cool.
like the
I like the
colors,
JCPenney one
it's really vibrant.
But like, we could do a little better with the paintings, with murals on buildings. I think like the old Peppers building that was the Raven, it's got that awesome wall that like, we have live music in front of all the time. That's where I would put a mural, like that, but it has to be a good mural. It can't just be like, I'm gonna paint a smiley face, or like, I bought a vinyl decal of like dolphins jumping out of the water, Lisa Frank, like it has to actually be like, and that's one of the reasons why I really wanna see this graffiti wall happen, is because how do you get graffiti artists? How do you get a wall artist to get good, right, if they don't have anywhere to practice? Because nobody's giving walls away for people to put their art up on. So you have to have a public place for people to practice their art.
They go under Maple Street Bridge and they practice.
Right, but like, that's driving it underground and like making it like a bad thing instead of a good thing,
Well, most of them are.
right? But I will tell you, if you went to Yellow Springs, you would be struck by the art that was on the walls there. And that I know for a fact that the art that was going up on the walls were all painted by local artists there, right? That's what they did, was they would go and paint walls, and the community was really accepting and interested in it. And so anybody that opened a business that had a wall, they would try to find somebody to put art up. You go down the alley in one of the downtowns, and every single building had a mural on the back. And it was like you were discovering this like secret art world, you know? It was really cool. Anyway, that type of stuff I do think helps also with like the vibrancy of a downtown. When people really remember like a striking piece of art that like the logging one is nice because it tells the story of Big Rapids.
Bird sculpture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it helps.
Are you familiar with the Public Art Collective project?
No, I'm familiar with the really expensive book that got put out that people can take.
Well, that's a thing too. So it's a group of people from the city and Paris that are trying to kind of document where all the public art is. So, and yeah, there's a physical book that they prepared, and it's got a map and it shows you the different districts and little things about it. You know, so that's not everything's downtown and not everything's a mural, but you know, it's something, and they're working on their strategic plan to find out. So they made this this, map, so now what's next? So I mean, those are things that, it's trying to be leveraged as like, hey, come for our town, we actually have a lot of public art.
That's,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
we do, and there's a lot of
We're
cool
like a little town in the middle.
hidden gems that just need a little more light shown on them.
Well, I mean, it's interesting though, if you were ever interested in learning about like that stuff or how to like work with that more too.
Can I, you guys, we aren't talking about Ferris students. You're talking about people coming into Big Rapids for, like, I don't know, Reed City or whatever, but you're not talking about the Ferris students that are here, that are 9,000, that
They're half the
you,
population. Yeah.
pardon me?
They're half the population.
That's what I'm concerned
And
about.
so then you have to do, the town is doing, I don't know, between, Tuesday and Thursday, don't Friday, okay, but you have to do that to get the Ferris students in here. I mean, you talk,
Wait, I'm confused.
I'm sorry, I'm just,
There's
you
not nothing to bring the
you
students
gotta
down other
bring
than
the
shooters.
students here.
Yeah.
And the
Downtown.
students are gone in the summer.
I see them.
But they're gone they're gone September, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you gotta, I'm sorry, you've gotta get them from Monday to Thursday. Because they're gonna be gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're gonna go home. Does that make sense?
Because we're suitcase college.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's like, I don't know how to do, I don't know, I'm listening to all you guys going, how can you do this, and I can't
We're saying
do
the
it.
same thing.
Yeah.
Activity
Same
and food
thing.
and all of these things, I mean, they pertain to the college student as well, but there is a price point. And I think some of the struggle has been, even for some of the businesses that have gone out, is their price point.
Mm-hmm.
We're the third poorest county in the state.
Yep.
Price point will determine if you survive. And overhead and all that stuff is absolutely going to drive your price point, but
So rent is too much then for these
it
businesses,
is.
and their taxes are too high, the people that own the buildings. So it just keeps going
Yeah.
down the line. Where is the bottom of it? Like, where's the crux of the problem? That's my
That's a good conversation, because where it all starts.
You know,
I think in some ways, Big Rapids is too spread out, right? Like, we do have a decent amount of public art, but like, there's a number of pieces that are like at the middle school, for example, right? And the likelihood of somebody going from, Schuberg's or something downtown and walking past the middle school play area and past all this stuff, it's like they feel like they're well out of the downtown before they get to these sculptures, which it could be good for them to like walk around and people might want to do some of that. But like, for example, again, where I went to college, there was this place called the Emporium. They sold coffee. You could get a cup of coffee. They sold beer. They sold wine. They had a big lounge area with board games. It was right downtown. We went there all the time for their craft beer as college students because we're pretty poor as students, but we will always buy coffee and we will always buy alcohol. We have Brunts Brothers, which is a great place, but it's not downtown, right? It's on State Street, which is a good location. You can't blame them for that. But like, if they weren't there and they were downtown instead, it would draw a ton of people downtown, right? Like, and so it's like, or, the Gypsy just got rid of their pool tables, so I found out that the only place in town with, like, you can really shoot pool probably, I guess Shooters has tables, but I don't know, I haven't been
Eagles.
there forever. Crusted Creations has an arcade and like 3 pool tables there. So I've been there a couple of times. Again, like if that place was downtown,
Yeah, that's the problem with that, is their location.
if it was downtown, people would be there all
Yeah.
the time. But instead, it's like at the opposite end of town is Grunts Brothers, right? And so you have 2 places that are like actually get decent amount of business. They're staying open. They're turning a profit, but they're at opposite ends, and they're nowhere near walking distance. When you have a really vibrant downtown, it's packed tight so that like everything is right there. The walking is right there. Like in Yellow Springs with the art, it's like you have all these murals that are all over in this one dense area. You're not like searching around town. Oh, there's one over there. Oh, go 3 blocks off of downtown and then 2 more blocks and you get to the statue at like the courthouse. Like, we have it, that's nice, but it doesn't smack out of towners like, oh man, you wouldn't believe Big Rapids downtown, it was so full of art. I'm like, no, I don't count a bulldog as art. So, like, sorry, like, you know, like it's cool, I don't have a problem with the bulldogs, but like, you have to have things that stick in people's minds and make them remember it and then talk about it, right?
I don't know why that there's such a diverse, what do you wanna call it, melting pot of everything in Big Rapids, cause nobody can identify exactly what Big Rapids is.
That's what I was like, what is the, that's
I had
what
this
my brain was
conversation
like,
with someone
what
a
is-
couple years
what
ago.
are-
We were talking about, you know,
brand here.
if we were gonna do a mural about Big Rapids.
Yeah.
Everybody had at least 5 different ideas. Because we don't have one singular thing that makes Big Rapids Big Rapids. We have all of these festivals that we run. We don't have one singular one that this is Big Rapids.
Yeah.
That's part of the struggle.
Well-
We've got different types of art. Some people call it art, some people don't see it as art. And it's all over the place.
Yeah, it's very
The
old.
same thing with all these other things. That's part of our struggle. We don't even know our own identity.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, part of it could be that like
Gosh.
we shouldn't try to do 1 mural. We should do 5 murals, right? And like maybe part of our identity is not having like we're all cardinals here or something. You know, I mean, we can have lots of different things going on, and we just have to embrace that more. And a more, I think the density of it is a big factor. Like I was saying, where it's like you have to really smack people with it. You can't make them search for it. They have to be like, whoa, there were 10 murals in 1 block, right? Every building had something on, had a barn quilt or whatever it is, right? That like, it has to strike people.
I can
And
tell you the biggest compliment that we get that separates us from a lot of downtowns, even though a lot of downtowns do it, is our flowers.
yes,
Flower beds and the hanging baskets, we get numerous compliments on.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
I
like,
agree.
if we had like an awesome flower mural on the old Peppers building wall, like that would be fantastic, right? That would like, people would be like, there were all these flowers everywhere, and then there was this giant mural, it was all of these colors, and they're gonna tell people about it, people are gonna come. But, I mean, I think part of it too is we have Ferris, but we're also have industrial, activity going on in Big Rapids. We're not just an education town. We're also a manufacturing town, and we have a little bit of commercial, but not as much tourism as we could. And it's like, how do we get that tourism? And it's like,
Tourism comes with your
It's hard.
identity. Because Cadillac, what's their identity?
shopping.
Junction.
Shopping in the lake.
The lake, yeah.
Got the lake right there.
There, yeah.
It's like we've got the river.
running through us, but how easily accessible is it? How comfortable are people with rivers anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a number
How
of.
many businesses are actually on the water?
Right.
None, except Gypsy.
I'm hopeful that like the new organizations, so there's new leadership in our Convention and Visitors Bureau, there's new leadership in like the regional chamber and economic development, so like those groups need to be working together to like market tourism in the area, so. Yeah, a lot of people that work here don't live here, you know, go to school here, don't live here,
Yeah.
you know, so they come and work and leave and.
Even people that live here don't live here. Like, they live outside of city limits.
Right, right. I mean, the city is like all, like, it's completely, like, there's a barrier, like, we're encompassed by the township, right? Like, we have a finite amount of space here, so it's hard to grow. And when, like, half of it's owned by university.
Well,
Not half,
and the other half is like slumlords, and when people move, they don't wanna pay city taxes, and so they buy a house in the suburbs right outside the city limits, and it drives the cost of housing inside the city up and makes
That's
people even
happening
poorer.
everywhere.
Which is sad because the people that could afford to actually pay the city taxes are the ones that aren't. Because they can afford not to, right? Because they can afford to live where they don't have to pay them.
We love Big Rapids. We just wanna see good things. in Big Rapids. That's why
We
we're
do
all
too.
on this board,
Yeah.
because we wanna see Big Rapids prosper.
We'd all like to
This
stay
was a
here.
great unscheduled business topic.
Yeah, sorry about
But it
that,
was good.
sorry, that was my fault.
Good work. This is a good thing to attend. Interesting. I could talk about this a long time.
I can't.
Everybody wants to go
There's a
also.
lot of people that feel like that, so.
I can walk out.
Out of it.
Hey Mary, I don't think I will be at